Hello everybody, my name is Petty Officer 2nd Class Judson, and today I will be teaching you how to do your boots. So I am going to be demonstrating on my Gen 4s, otherwise known as moon boots. Normally you'll see me wearing parade boots, but for this video's sake, I'll be demonstrating with my moon boots. So one of the significant differences is the sole. You can tell it's a lot thicker on moon boots than on parades. Another difference is the pores. The pores are very large on this one. Now pores are crevices, little divots, holes, I guess, in the boot. And essentially when you're boot polishing, you're just filling those holes. So that's one of the significant differences between parade boots and moon boots. Another thing is the shape. So you can tell this boot kind of just goes straight down and it's less curved. Parade boots are really just more curved and are built to kind of reflect the light to give the illusion that they're shinier than they actually are. Now, they are shiny anyway, but it just makes them look a little more shinier, you know? So these are really just considered work boots, or moon boots, and some people call them because they are so huge and bulky and the soles are gigantic, so that's why they're called moon boots. One of the things to note when you are polishing your boots is that there may be some wrinkles or crevices at the top of the toe that also needs to be polished. It may be kind of scratched off, a little bit flaky. Don't worry about that because that is okay. You just need to polish as best as you can on the wrinkles just to make them look as shiny as possible, but they're definitely not your top priority. Just as shiny as you can get them is fine. Alright, let's go ahead and get this over with. So now we're going to open up the polish. You'll note that this polish is Kiwi. Kiwi is by far the best brand of polish that you can possibly get. I know it's kind of cut off in this picture here, but you can tell it's Kiwi. I have a Kiwi cloth too. Kiwi is amazing. It's the best brand. Everyone will tell you so, except for I know some people who prefer Canuck. It's not as good as Kiwi in my opinion, but Kiwi, by far, best brand. When you're buying it, make sure to get black. Your boots aren't brown, they're not white, they're black. So get black polish. Also make sure that when you're buying the polish, you're not getting parade gloss, because if you buy parade gloss, it'll give you shine for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then it'll go completely matte. It'll be horrible. It'll crack. Not a good turnout. So now I'm going to show you how to open it. There's going to be this little knobby thing here. It's pretty simple. It might be a little bit harder to open once you get a new one, a nice fresh one, but really you just turn it and pop it off. It's pretty simple. I'm going to do it again. There we go. So, again, you just kind of turn the metal thing. Pop it off. Doesn't use any muscle. Easy, ready to go. So, some people like to put water in their lids. I personally don't put water in my lid if I ever use water. Usually I'll spit. It's warm or hot water. Goes in your lid or a cup. But I just use spit. Spit has a whole bunch of chemicals that will help break up the polish. It's already warm too, so it's not like you're using a whole bunch of water. It really just helps smooth out the polish and fill in the pores. And it also helps spread everything around. So that's what water does, but spit has more chemicals. It kind of helps break everything down. It's really better for your boot. Now we're going to be putting on the Kiwi cloth. So you find a nice space where there's no polish on it, nice and clean, fresh spot. Now you just grab it, make it nice and tight, make sure there's no wrinkles on the fingers. Do a little twist. So I'm trying to show you how to do it here, but we're a little cut off. And you just put the cloth between your thumb and your forefinger. Some people like to use one finger when they're using the cloth. Personally, I use two. Some people use their forefinger alone, some people use their middle finger alone. Fun fact, when I was recording the first shot of this, I was trying to demonstrate using your forefinger alone and your middle finger alone, and I accidentally gave the camera the bird, and I was like, whoops. So, now that we've got our cloth on here, some people like to grab it from the front, some people like to put their hand inside the boot. It really just is personal preference for whatever you're doing. So now I'm going to be putting on the polish as well. So really it's just dabbing, and since I'm putting on a base coat, I will be putting on a fair bit more polish than I usually would if I was trying to get a shine. Now, a base coat is essential for new boots, and it can take a while with this. So you know that my boots are already kind of polished. You can kind of see the shininess already, but base coats will still work, especially for this example. So you'll see me bring the boot off the camera, and that's just me spitting on the boot. You also might see me bring up my hand, and that's to lick the cloth. Another thing I will do is actually breathe on the boot. So instead of like the kind of blowing that you would do for soup, it's kind of using the back of your throat. That's the best way I can describe it. It's kind of warm breath, trying to melt the polish. That's what it sounded like. If you could hear that. I don't know if you could hear that. So, big circles. Not too big. Not crazy like that. But just big circles. Not tiny. Just nice and big. Yeah, that's a huge circle. It's me demonstrating what not to do. Definitely just kind of medium-sized circles, and you can already see the shine, like it's really coming along. One of the things to note is always polish every bit of the boot. Polish the tongue, polish the toe, polish the sides of the toe, polish the sides, polish the heel, polish every single part of the boot. That's why these boots aren't laced, is because I took out the laces so that I can polish the tongue. And every part of the boot, you polish it the same way. Add a base coat, then get it shiny. I'll show you how to shine it a little bit later. So, one of the things to note is you'll know if you put too much spit or water on it. If it has leftover water, if it has little droplets of water, or you see the water while you're spreading it, that's how you know that there's too much. Another thing is if you have too little of water, then it's not really going to make a difference, and that's how you know that you didn't put enough water in. So base coats will take you about 30 minutes to an hour. For a couple of days, it'll take you a fair bit, but usually you don't want to polish for over an hour, in my opinion, because you can kind of lose your rhythm. And I think it's important to kind of start fresh and just kind of let your boot have a little break. Cool down a little bit. So yeah, I'm just polishing. The The reason that I'm demonstrating on my Gen 4s is actually because they don't give parades or Gen 2s out to cadets anymore, and it's actually kind of sad. I'd like to see you all with parades. That'd be very nice, very lovely. So, this is pretty sufficient base coat. Kind of proud of myself. Alright, so now I'll be showing you how to add a nice shine on it. So, unlike before, you don't want a lot of polish on your boot. You can see that on my cloth there's hardly any polish there, and that's exactly what you want. You don't want a lot of polish, you just want a nice small coat just to go on there and make it nice and shiny. So smaller circles, more pressure. You can see how fast my hand is going. That's no time lapse. There's no time lapse on that. Seems very aggressive, but that's how fast you need to be going. Just to get a nice shine. Nice and fast. Some pressure. Smaller circles. Definitely smaller circles. And honestly, it's gonna sound a little bit weird when I say it like this, but you kind of got to flow with the boot. If you feel that it's kind of resisting what you want it to do, maybe add a little bit of water, maybe breathe on it, try and melt it, try and make it smoother, maybe add a little more pressure, add a little less pressure, see how it goes. Find a happy medium with everything, because you're going to need to, when you're starting out polishing your boots, you're going to find that happy medium. Maybe this is too much pressure, this is too little of pressure, this is maybe just right. You just got to find your happy medium. And that's how you get nice shiny boots. Just find a happy medium. Knowing the science always helps. Science is filling in the pores with the base coat. And then shininess has to do with light, heat, just melting, nice and smooth. If you've got lumps, it's going to be less shinier. We're just going to speed through this here because this took about 5 minutes and I don't really have much to say for that. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm just breathing on it a lot more and being very gentle with it, and I'm trying to wipe away any excess marks that maybe the polish left or any marks that the cloth made, because sometimes the cloth will make marks and you just kind of gotta adjust and wipe them off. Just be very gentle when that happens, because it's scratching, right? So now I'm all done. Even though the lighting is pretty bad, you can tell that there's a significant difference between the right boot and the left boot. Right boot, way more better. Polished it. It's awesome. So remember, polish all of the boot. Every part of the boot you polish the same. There's no different part of the boot that you polish differently. So remember, add a base coat first and then focus on getting it shiny after you've filled all the pores and all the crevices with a nice coat of polish, so that it really works better and it's smoother and kind of reflects the light a little bit better. So another thing that I'd like to address is actually called the catwalks. So essentially, they're these little parts on the boot. At the bottom of the boot, you can kind of see, they kind of look a little bit like ledges, to be honest with you. They are these little parts that I'm pointing to. It's like the part where the boot connects to the sole. Oh, that sounds really deep. So essentially what you're going to do is you're going to have a toothbrush, you're going to put some polish on the toothbrush, and you're going to rub the catwalks with the toothbrush. I would recommend having a separate toothbrush just for your catwalks so that you're not using the same toothbrush as you do to brush your teeth. So you're just going to go along the catwalks. I'm going to demonstrate with my cloth so you know what that looks like. If my cloth was a toothbrush, this is how you would be doing your catwalks. Put polish on it, just scrub your catwalk so it's nice and black and looks very fresh and clean. I'm P.O. Judson, and this was how to do your boots. Remember, social distancing, wash your hands, make sure you guys stay safe. Have a good day.